Hi guys, welcome to Game Latte. Today I'm drinking an ice cold beer. It's Kokanee Glacier Fresh beer from British Columbia, Canada. I'm actually not usually a big Canadian beer fan because I don't know, I'm very picky. I like quality beers. Most of them happen to be imported. I like Mexican light beers or dark golden German beers or Guinness even. And the Budweisers and that kind of stuff doesn't really do much for me. However, Kokanee is definitely one of my favorite beers and is wonderful. I believe it's a pale ale. And yeah, and it's perfect for a day like today. It's pretty affordable. It's cheaper than the imported stuff. So, yay! And today's topic is going to be Final Fantasy XIV. Yes, I've got some raves and one rant, and hopefully I won't get too out of hand, though I don't believe I will because I actually have an explanation for it now. And for a while there, though, I was pretty upset about this, but I'll talk about that a little later. First of all, I want to generalize about the latest big patch that we've had in the summer, and that is of course 1.18 patch, which was major. Now a lot of people who are not actively following Final Fantasy XIV or playing it were assuming this was the big miracle patch because people were kind of hyping this patch a lot and really waiting for it. And the reason that we were hyping it so much was because there was a whole bunch of content finally added. Now you have to remember this MMO launched with barely anything to do. There was just the story missions, which is, you know, once every 10 level or so. So there's really only 5 of them, I think. It's really light on the content, and this is for the story-based stuff and the cutscenes and all that. Once you're done that, I mean, what else is there to do? More grinding, more leveling, and that's about it. The leaves weren't story-based at all. I mean, there's just a little blurb, but they're all fetch quests, and their purpose was always as a matter of character progression. That's what they are. So that's kind of content, but it's content to progress you. It's not content to experience. So that was the major failure of the game. Now, this patch brought in 2 new dungeons, one for level 25s and one for level 45s. And yes, those dungeons you can level in because the monsters do give experience. I believe that completion of the instance itself also gives you rewards. And of course, there's the loot and all that. So those are very good for that, and they are story based. They have cutscenes in them, and they've absolutely been wonderful. I've been through the level 25 one because I don't have a character that's high enough to go into the last dungeon, into the high level dungeon, but I've really enjoyed it. It's been a really great experience just going there with my Link Shell buddies, and I'm hoping that once people start to get their heads around the search party feature and that the search function looking for parties is tweaked, because they are going to fix that a bit more. Right now, when you try to look for parties or, you know, tell people that you're looking for a party, it's overly complicated in the UI. Like, I don't really understand it, that most people don't really understand it. There's been a few people in the community who have taken the time of explaining it in certain forums, and that's been really appreciated. I haven't taken the time I've read it, but I haven't applied it yet in my game, because I'm actually more of a soloist and I play very sporadically, so it hasn't really come in handy for me yet. But I'm sure that once we get more content, more content, but more group-based content, this is going to be much in demand. And so, you know, pugging isn't really prevalent right now unless you do behest and you stand around, you know, with your little, because when you do behest, which if you don't know, it's behest is sort of a challenge monster hunt. You go to the party, to the Aetherite crystals, where you do your leaves, and there's an NPC that will appear every half hour. It used to be every hour at launch, now it's every half hour. And you talk to the battle master, and they say, oh, we need you and other people to come and exterminate these monsters that are rampaging around. So you say yes, you're going to help. You get this little icon beside your name. Now, if other people come along, they'll get icons beside the name, and you guys can group up. And then basically go into the field, and these monsters will pop up, and you get to defeat them, and they give a lot of experience points. Actually, for a time, Behest was the best way to level in the game. I don't believe that's the case now, and there's a good reason for that. It's because Square Enix, or Yoshida, the team led by Yoshida, decided that leaves, not so much Behest, but definitely leaves, are going to be for solo content only. I don't know why why they decided to do that. I'm not sure I totally agree, because this was supposed to be for everybody, and the difficulty actually scaled with how many people you had in your party. So, and they already adjusted the party sizes. You can't have 15-man parties anymore. I believe the most you can have is 8 people in a party. So they've already nerfed that part of it. So I don't know why they're going to make leaves solo only, but that's what they're going to do. Now, to help with that, I believe mob grinding is a lot better than it used to be. Now when you kill monsters, they give out a lot more experience. So personally, I've tried soloing leaf quests, and the leaf quests are still unbalanced. Sometimes I found some of them were too difficult for me to do at like the same level. I was level 18, 19 thaumaturge, and I was trying to do level 20 leaves and failing miserably. So instead I went out and just killed stuff, and that actually made me level 2 levels. So I don't know, I was very impressed with that. So now you'll be able to group up and just go hunting in the wild, in the fields. So a lot like Final Fantasy XI, and that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I'm really ambivalent about this, because I don't want to play Final Fantasy XI again. I want to play something different. I want to play something that's more casually oriented, something where I could just hop in and do stuff and hop out. I don't want to have to plan for ages and ages and ages like you had to do in 11. So I'll see how this works out, but I'm sort of on edge about this new direction in that sense. Now, other than that, there's been class changes, tweaks, and fixes. Now they're getting ready to really change how the classes work and have them have more of a traditional role. Basically, if there's going to be a healer, a tank, and a DPS kind of setting. Holy Trinity is coming back. You're not going to have a whole lot of freedom like we used to have at the beginning, which was a broken system, but I don't know, it seems like they're reworking it so it works like other MMOs and like Final Fantasy XI, and I'm not really sure again if that's a good thing or not. We'll have to see how it goes. What's happened so far is, for example, the mages now, their cures, most of the cures are conjurer only. Thaumaturge and conjurer now gets a low level raise at level 14, and you get a higher level raise, I believe raise 2 at 36, I think. So you're able to raise your comrades now. Now for those of you who can't find your raise, it is in there. Just make sure you check your actions, your action bar or your action grid in your menu to find it, because you do have it. I had a conjurer, argue with me that he didn't have the raise spell and he was level 30. And I was like, yes, you have it. But make sure to when if you haven't played in a while, and go through all of your stuff, because there's going to be things that have changed. You might have lost spells like the Thaumaturge. You might have lost abilities. Your abilities may not be as effective as they used to be. They might have been nerfed. I believe the Marauder and the Lancer perhaps I've seen these changes. Now I know that in the patch that's coming this week, I think it's this week, very soon anyway, a lot of the Lancer, the pointy jobs, Lancer and Marauder and all that, they're getting fixes to their skills, so that's great. The mages, however, RMP pool is now very restricted because some of our spells take so much out of our MP pool, and so we have to watch what's going on. Before we were like a big fountain of endless mana, and it's not like that anymore. So that's been changed now. Hopefully that means that we'll be able to have to use potions and makes use of these alchemists out there and these culinarians. Food is probably going to become much more prevalent in the economy. So this is actually really good changes for everybody. And so that's that. As a mage, I level Conjurer and Thaumaturge. I don't have anything to say about the mana pool being reduced or having to be managed. I actually think that's a really good thing, and I'm used to that from that kind of thing from Final Fantasy XI. And right now, it's nowhere near like 11, because in 11, your mana pool didn't auto regenerate when you were walking. It just, you had to sit down. It was such a drag. You don't have to do that in 14. In 14, once you're out of combat, you put your weapon away, everything just auto regenerates, which is great. About the weapon, another thing that's coming very, very soon as part of 1.18a patch is we'll be able to hide our weapons. Now, it doesn't stay hidden because this is just a quick fix, and I think it's for the summer event, where we will be able to have bikinis and swimsuits on. Now, they didn't want people to be walking around in swimsuits with like a big axe on their back or something, so you'll be able to hide it, but it's only going to be able for you. Other people, you will be able to see your weapon equipped still until 1.19, where when you hide your weapon, it's going to be like the hat. Nobody will see it. So that's, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be wonderful. And hopefully an appearance tab eventually comes, or an appearance options, where you'll be able to equip whatever, like they have in Lord of the Rings Online or EverQuest 2, where you can, or Age of Conan now as well, join the boat, where you can equip whatever. How am I explaining this? So you have your power equipment, what your stats are based on, and then you have an aesthetic tab where you put, what you want people to see you wear. That's what I'd like to see. But that's not coming. I'm not saying that's coming. I'm just saying that's what I hope is next when it comes to all this aesthetic, stuff. What else happened? Oh my gosh, no more surplus. No more surplus. That is gone. That's right, that is gone. So there's no more limits on how much experience you can get. You can just level at your heart's content. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are very happy about this. The repair system has been changed. You now only need to, you don't need certain materials to repair something. You now only need a thing called dark matter. And dark matter is leveled in tiers. You have dark matter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those, of course, the tiers will level, level 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and so forth, type of weaponry or armor. And this dark matter can be found in the wild when you kill monsters. It can be earned through missions, especially the Grand Company missions. That's another thing. The Grand Companies, also about the repair system. So you need dark matter, and you just need to level the particular craft to repair something. So let's say you have a broken staff. To repair yourself, you need dark matter and carpenter at the appropriate level. That's it. Okay, Grand Companies. Woo! Finally here. What are Grand Companies? This is actually part of the storyline, so there's finally actual content. That was one of the major things about 1.18 that people were so excited about, because oh my gosh, finally Eorzea, there's stuff happening in the world in Eorzea. So each city has a Grand Company, which is basically an organized group that are of, let's say, mercenaries, but fighters that are led by city leaders, and each city leaders are organizing these troops, I guess. And you go there, and you can, at first you're sort of mercenary, or sort of an adventurer for hire at first, and then eventually, I think in the later levels, you get to, or maybe in a patch later, you'll get to swear your allegiance to one of them. So right now, you can actually work for all 3 cities, no matter which city you started in. So you can try all of the quest lines and see which ones you like better. They're actually all pretty much the same. Like a lot of like the opening city missions. They're pretty much all the same but different flavors. So you pick the one you prefer, and then you swear your allegiance to one later on, and then you won't be able to do the other ones after that. But for now, you can just sample whatever. And when you go to the Grand Companies, you say, okay, I want to work for you. They send you on a series of quests, and then through that, they eventually lead you to the dungeons. And it's the same dungeon. Everybody goes to the same dungeon. There's not like 3 different dungeons. That's what I thought. I thought that each city had their own dungeon, but no, it's just they all point to the same one. And the first one's in Gridania. Excuse me. So that's where I went, and that was fantastic. And it was the whole progression and everything. That's what a story-based MMO should be like. And you know, for those of you wondering, should I come back now? Yes, if you want to come back now, if you have a box, especially you've already have a few characters leveled, then I recommend you come back and try these out. If you don't have the game yet, I'd still wait. I'd still wait till at least September or January even, because then we'll have so much more, and it'll be a completely different game than what it was. Seriously. Okay, what else do I have? Dungeons. Oh yes, you can now set your home point. That's actually going to be a big for those of us who played other MMOs and Final Fantasy XI, where you could pick a crystal and say, okay, this is my home point. Now every time you want to teleport back, you can just go back. So that's we now have this, I believe, in 1.18a as well. So I'm really happy about that. And an action bar. Oh, the action bar has been streamlined. It is now far more responsive than it used to be. I used to hate the hotbar because first of all, I play with the gamepad, and it seemed like the buttons were really sticky, and you know, when I pushed something, there was always a little bit of a time wait, or oh yes, the timer bars, the refresh bars, whatever, completely gone. So now when you push a button, it happens. It's instant. So the recast timer, I think, is what it is. Or well, anyway, those of you who play, you know what I'm talking about. That little stupid little yellow bar is gone. It's gone. So now you could just, you know, not button mash, button mash, but it's so much better. It's so much more responsive and engaging. There is auto attack now, which you're better for or against. It's actually not too bad. It's working all right. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's certainly not anywhere near as slow as Final Fantasy XI or other turn-based games that I've seen. And I actually do believe what Yushi was saying, that this was never really designed to be an action type of game. It was always supposed to be sort of more turn-based. So, and not having an auto attack kind of was gimping it in the first place. And now that I'm able to play with it, I kind of agree with that. So, and that's what Final Fantasy has always been about. It's always been about turn-based strategy, and not so much, you know, the action, like Age of Conan kind of stuff, or Ion kind of stuff. It's not. It's definitely, you know, more weight and, okay, this is what you're doing, this is what I'm doing type of game. So, you know, I'm hoping that eventually when all said and done and the class tweaks are over, that it's all going to mesh in together and work really well. I'm also hoping that they don't just concentrate on group stuff, and that they don't forget our poor, you know, soloists. I'm one of those people. I solo quite a bit, again, because my time is sort of spread around everywhere. I log in, I log out all the time. I can't just sit there and play for long stretches. So I end up playing alone a lot, although I do on the weekends and some evenings I do like to go and party with people. So, you know, Yoshida has stated in his letter, producer's letter, I think my camera's dying, that he wants to balance for everybody. So hopefully he keeps that in mind. And I'm going to wrap this up now. Thanks for listening. I hope you found this somewhat good, informative. So give me feedback, and we'll talk to you later. And drink a cold one unless you're underage. All right, bye. I've actually forgot to add something, and that is actually a pretty big deal, and that's what one of the things I was raging about, is now when you die and you're by yourself and you hit the return button to go back to the Aetheryte, you get some gear damage. And not a little bit of gear damage, a lot of gear damage. And this is definitely more pronounced if you're wearing gear that is not your level, that is higher above your level. For example, I was a thaumaturge and I was wearing my conjurer stuff. Some of it was 10 levels above me, some of it wasn't because I kept some of the old stuff. Anyway, some of these stuff went from nothing to red like that. Like I died 2 or 3 times and I had to repair my stuff. It was ridiculous. I was so mad, so mad. But now that I've had a kind person on the Final Fantasy XIV official forums explain things, not to me, but to players, you know, I've calmed down a bit and I was like, that's right, my gear was higher level than I was and it wasn't all that effective, but it's what I had. And for a long time, it didn't really penalize you, whatever you were wearing. Well, now it does. So be careful. Also, to note that we still don't have re-raise, and I hope that we're gonna get re-raise soon, because for those of us, again, that play by ourselves a lot, we need re-raise. I was a Beastmaster in Final Fantasy XI, and re-raise was my best friend. So I'm hoping to come back. I also hope that Beastmaster comes back. Come on, Square Enix, you know you want to. So that's it for now. So when you're dying, don't hit return. Ask for a raise. Or you know, try not to die, I guess, or make sure you've got at least a conjurer or a thaumaturge in your party. Yeah, and don't wear gear that is not optimal for your level. That is now going out the window. Okay? All right, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.
Whoa, I drank pots and pots and pots and pots of strong black coffee, trying to keep my sleepy soul awake.